Hello, and welcome to Back to the Feature with Evan and Gabby. Double features, double takes. This is a podcast where we talk about two movies, one new, one older, and what makes them a good pair, and how the history of films influences the present.
I'm Evan.
And I'm Gabby.
It's all fun and games in New Mexico until a killer returns to your hometown, whether it's a criminal or a coronavirus. That's right, today we're discussing Eddington and
High Noon.
Crazy poll from us.
It's a deep cut.
Deep cut. We talked about this a little bit last week about how this movie was being described by IndieWire, and I believe the New York Times as like a Western, and Ari Aster has mentioned that himself, very much a modern Western, and we decided, why not look back into the past, right?
Look at how we got here. What genre brought us to this point?
Yeah.
The original Western.
And can Westerns keep going? I think we had an interesting question to explore. But before we get into those movies, a little bit of movie news.
Ooh, yes. It's time for movie news / trailer corner.
Yeah. Trailer corner.
Trailer corner, trailer talk. We haven't decided on a segment name yet.
Suggestions for the name.
Suggestions for the segment in the comments, please.
In the comments. But the Odyssey tickets, Christopher Nolan's Odyssey tickets.
We need to talk about this. The Odyssey tickets went on sale 1 year in advance. A whole year, Evan. How, this is a marketing stunt that I have never seen before. And I want to say to the viewers and the listeners that it worked on me. It fully worked on me. I am a sucker. I am a loser. And I was there buying those tickets.
Gabby sent me a screenshot of the tickets that you bought. And you're like, I got them. And I was like, oh my God. I can't believe you paid for the tickets. I guess I'm going to have to wait and maybe plebe it out because I don't know if they'll be available to me anymore. And Gabby said,
you idiot. The other ticket is for you. But also, yes, we should back up and clarify that the tickets that were available were only the 70 millimeter film tickets.
Yeah.
So only a select number of theaters here in Los Angeles. It will be the AMC City Walk Theater and the TCL Chinese Theater. And one other one, I believe, is a Regal that seemed new to the list.
Oh, interesting.
Of 70 millimeter. Maybe we're getting a new screen.
Is it in Orange County or is it the Regal in downtown?
No, I think it's the downtown is now going to be capable of 70 millimeter, which is kind of exciting.
Okay.
But yeah, this is a marketing stunt that I had never heard of before for any other film. This is not even something that Avengers Endgame did.
Yeah.
And can any other director pull this off, do you think?
Well, I think it's interesting because I think a lot of that converges with IMAX as a kind of phenomenon now, because it's almost like the idea of IMAX being tagged onto things. Growing up, I don't know if you felt this way, but growing up, IMAX felt like something reserved for the domey kind of theaters, right? That was
at a museum.
Yes, and that was the thing. My dad would always be like, "Oh, we should go to the IMAX at the Dome at the Science Center." Yeah. Now that there's theaters where that isn't part of it, but there's other places that have this or can market themselves as having IMAX screens, even if they're smaller screens. Now there's some extra connotation around it, especially with the way that Barbie and Oppenheimer and Sinners now have all talked about IMAX, and I think it's becoming more of a phenomenon for younger viewers, whether they're quote unquote cinephiles or movie fans or not. They just feel I have to see this in IMAX because this is the thing to do. Right.
Or if this is how the director wants me to see it, because a lot of directors are out there saying, especially the Odyssey is apparently the first film to be shot only using IMAX cameras, we should note. So I think that is a big tie-in here, and I'm sure that Christopher Nolan will be pushing and saying that IMAX cameras were a huge part of the making of this film, and that is how you should see it. As he should. I'm sure he got those cameras because he agreed to do that.
Yeah, and he's loved shooting in IMAX for a while too.
A long time. He's been doing it. But just
now
to have every camera be an IMAX camera is a big commitment.
It's going to be big, especially if you've seen Nolan movies. You know that the kind of aspect ratio changes. If you're wondering, why is it more narrow, and then sometimes it's it feels full screen or something. It's because those full screen shots are the IMAX cameras, and just expensive to do it the whole time. But now
so expensive
if it's going to be the whole thing.
But is this the biggest blank check move that we've seen from Christopher Nolan so far?
Since Dunkirk, right?
Since Dunkirk.
Dunkirk really felt like the first time.
Well, I think Dunkirk was really capitalizing on the end of him doing the Dark Knight franchise, the Batman franchise. Was that his first movie after Dark Knight Rises?
Was it Interstellar, or was Interstellar made in between those?
I'm not sure.
But Interstellar was a big hit, I think, right? Like generally a really big hit.
Gen Z, I think, loves Interstellar.
Oh, I bet that would make sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I saw Interstellar for the first time in 70mm just this year.
Wow.
At the Universal City Walk, because I felt like it was a huge blind spot to me.
Yeah.
A budding Christopher Nolan fan. I don't love all of his work, but I liked Oppenheimer a lot. I like a lot of his older films, so I was like, okay, I'm going to see this. I hated it. But that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, Interstellar will always get me, and the McConaughey scene in the middle, that's great without spoiling anything.
I cried.
That's very powerful. And then the ending makes no sense, especially when he enters that extra area.
The weird, like, hidden book universe.
Yeah, but when I watched that the first time, I remember losing it, and I saw it in the re-release last year in IMAX, not 70mm. I remember just sitting there being like, oh my God, I love this so much. But watching that scene out of context, which I've done multiple times, it is straight, like, if someone were to be like, this is a parody of Interstellar, it would just be that scene, because it is so crazy.
Hey, I'm Christopher Nolan. Sir Christopher Nolan is a very meticulous filmmaker, meticulous artist.
Yeah.
I'm sure that he did a lot of copious research into the mechanics of Interstellar. I trust you, but it didn't work for me.
Yeah.
I'm sure that that's also the case with the Odyssey. I can't imagine this not being like a long gestating passion project of some kind for him.
Sure.
Because simply why else would you want to make the Odyssey?
Yeah. And it seems like it's going to be a great collection of working with a big cast, too. It gives you the excuse to kind of like tap into a larger network if you want.
Including Oppenheimer alum Matt Damon in the starring role this time.
That's right. Yeah. And Tom Holland, we talked about it. Can he land something outside of Spider-Man?
He's going to try. Those are real tears, Evan. I could tell. They didn't need to use the menthol stick for him.
He's crying because he just wants to get married to Zendaya.
He's like, I need to lock this down so bad for short kings everywhere.
Well, on a different subject, a new trailer came out this week that I think for a movie we're both very interested in, or I can't speak for you, but After the Hunt, the new Luca Guadagnino movie starring another very interesting cast. We have Julia Roberts, Io Debris, Andrew Garfield, Michael Stuhlbarg. Love that guy.
Love that guy.
They're another collaboration from the two of them after Call Me By Your Name, because he was in that as well. This is like a movie about a campus sexual assault case.
Right.
Seems when I first read the logline, I was like, we'll see how this goes. And honestly, the trailer was pretty I was like, okay, this is interesting.
I'm locked in. I want to see Luca Guadagnino's Tar. Is what I'm it's kind of what I'm getting from this is like a lot of like the Tar Juilliard scene is what this seems to be wanting to emulate in that way. But I think it looks great. I think that it's Luca in a mode that we haven't seen him really yet, or haven't seen him in a long time. Like the traditional drama vein, because he did Queer last year, but Queer was not a traditional drama. And also was an adaptation of a difficult to adapt so-called novel or novella, I believe. But this is an original work. Yeah. It's a topical work, and it will play out in cinemas soon. And we'll see if the Academy bites, because that kind of does seem also like what I can't speak for Luca. It doesn't seem like he's a huge awards guy, but he maybe wants to be, you know? I feel like he hasn't really had that conversation around him since Call Me By Your Name.
And I was having this conversation with someone recently, but I do like when a director chooses to just go after the things that they're interested in, as opposed to staying in like a mode that they feel like they should stay in, which we'll definitely talk about when we get to Ari Aster.
Luca has an incredible range as a filmmaker, which I really admire. Yeah. Especially, you know, Challengers last year, like making a sports dramedy. Yeah. Like going from making something as slow and romantic as Call Me By Your Name to making something as out of the box as the Suspiria remake, and then into Challengers and Queer. It's admirable to me as a, you know, as for him as an artist. Yeah. And I'm really curious to see where this goes. Andrew Garfield, have we seen him in a really big role like this in a while? I feel like he's been missing.
He was in We Live in Time last year, which didn't make a huge splash, but he was great in it.
He's always good. I feel like he just doesn't always get the meatiest parts.
Yeah. You know? What did I just watch a young Andrew Garfield in?
The Social Network?
No. The one where they're like that. I don't want to say that because even a little oh my god, with Carey Mulligan and Keira Knightley. This is so annoying. I just watched this. It's called like not Call Me by Your Name, but it's that energy. It's like to all like.
Well, usually I'm really good at just like picking up on a movie based on a cast, but
Riley, do you have it?
I'm trying to find it.
I don't have this. Maybe you're just really bad at
describing.
No,
the movie was interesting. I saw it as part of Bleak Week for the American Cinematheque.
Oh, okay. Brag.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. It's just Keira Knightley.
It's about to be revealed.
Keira Knightley. This is great. This is
really good podcasting. Yeah.
Keira Knightley, Natalie. Never Let Me Go.
Never Let Me Go. I can't say that I have never heard of that.
It's very funny. That's a Tumblr movie if I've ever seen one.
Ooh, throwback. But speaking of very topical filmmaking, let's dive into Eddington.
Yeah. It came out this week. You know, both saw it opening night, Thursday here in Los Angeles.
We were actually seeing it just about at the same time on different sides of Los Angeles.
Yeah, I was in the Westfield Century City on the west side. If you tried to scream my name while I was trying to figure out which trash can to throw my coffee cup away to, I'm sorry if I missed you trying to get my attention. This is not like a weird...
You ignored a fan?
Somebody screamed, Evan! I think it was more likely a friend than a fan. but I couldn't...
Are your friends not your fans?
Wow, that's really gotta seeing big head shakes from Riley and Matt over here. So
the answer is no.
So yeah, I saw it there. I don't know how often you go to that theater, Century City, AMC.
I used to frequent it a lot when I lived in Mid-City, but now I live I live on the east side now. So I don't go there very often unless it's a big opening that's only playing there. Yeah,
I just happened to be on that side of town, and I figured that it was just more convenient to do it there. Saw it in one of the basement theaters. It's a theater that kind of splits where it's like up and down. And so I went to the bottom, and for that one, it sucked because I complain a lot about these things. I love going to the movies, obviously. I love unplugging for 2.5 hours.
We nitpick because we care.
Yeah, but the exit signs were so bright. They're so bright, just beaming me in the eyes, left, right. I was like, this is why you don't sit in row J at an up-to-date theater, because if you're that far back, you just got these two green gems just like blasting you the whole time. And Eddington is not the brightest movie.
It's not a very bright movie, no.
So that was like very interesting. Also, a lot of people getting up to use the bathroom in this one. And I get it, it's a 2.5 hour movie. It's long.
It's a long one.
Wow.
But it's not the longest. I feel like 2.5 hours is kind of par for the course now. But
yeah. How was your experience?
Yes, it was pretty good. I saw it at the Burbank 16. Pretty packed theater. A lot of people were locked in though. Nobody got up that I could really register. I was also sitting smack in the middle of the theater, so I would have noticed. We got Sushi Stop beforehand.
Classic. Shout out Sushi Stop. Did you roll the dice?
Of course I did. And I paid full price for that beer. Fuck you, Sushi Stop.
Just for context, the Sushi Stop near this specific theater in LA does a thing where you can roll 2 dice if you get a certain...
If you get 2 like odds, Snake Eyes or something, you pay $2 for the beer.
Yeah.
And I was not lucky. Also, ran into friend of the pod, Alex Morand, who absolutely refused to tell me even if he liked Eddington. He had just come out of seeing it when I was going in.
Yeah.
Refused to tell me anything about it because he would not influence my viewing experience.
Yeah.
And that is a real friend.
Yeah, he knew it was going to be on the pod. He was I can't talk about it. Yeah.
I told him some of our contenders and he wouldn't even tell me
we were
like close.
Wow.
I was like, well, based on the reporting, we're thinking about this. And he was like,
Good job, Alex. Good job.
The most tight-lipped man I know.
Yeah. Shout out to my friend Matt, who I saw online for the parking validation.
Did you say hi to this one?
Yeah, I said hi to him.
Say hi to
I said,
this fan?
Hey, Matt. And he said, you just got out of Eddington too? I was like, yeah. So we chatted
Everybody,
about that
the whole team was out to see Eddington.
Yeah, opening night. That's what we love to see.
The real Aster heads.
Yeah.
Including my girlfriend, who will not come with me to every movie, but she was weirdly interested in this. Shout out.
Yeah, shout out. All right, so let's get into Eddington. Eddington was released this week, July 18th, 2025. It's directed by Ari Aster. It's written by Ari Aster as well. Produced by Lars Credson and Ruark and Ari Aster himself. Starring Joaquin Phoenix, Pedro Pascal, Luke Grimes, Deirdre O'Connell, Michael Ward, Austin Butler, and Emma Stone. The film is set in the year 2020, May 2020, just after the start of the COVID pandemic.
It's been called a modern Western, and we clearly think that there is some truth to that. But I think it's also got a lot of elements of a conspiracy thriller and a psychological, political kind of film,
Black
as well as,
almost,
like a dark satire.
Yeah.
It has a lot of layers to it, which I really admire about this.
And so we'll kind of talk about this, as spoiler-free as possible for a few minutes before jumping into it, because it's quite hard to kind of dissect all the layers without getting into the depth of this movie.
Yes, but very, very basically, it is set in 2020. It is set during the COVID-19 pandemic in a small town called Eddington, New Mexico, and it examines the political and social turmoil by an unexpected mayoral campaign between the town's sheriff, Joe Cross, played by Joaquin Phoenix, and incumbent mayor Ted Garcia, played by Pedro Pascal.
What did you think of this movie, Gabby?
I really like this movie.
Same.
Ari Aster is back. He is so back. Some might say he never left. Riley, I see you. But Beau is Afraid, not for me. But this one, he's roaring back. And dare I say, Joaquin Phoenix is back after, I don't know, Joker 2 and a series of bad headlines about him dropping out of
the movie, Todd Field movie?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, and remember, Joker 2 came to him in a dream. So
yep, that's true. That's true.
Good to keep in mind.
So he's back. He is really great in this movie.
Really
he
good.
is super committed, and I think he really fits in a way that I wasn't even sure that he fit in Beau is Afraid.
And I think the movie is definitely exploring subject material that I think he must also think a lot about, which is
Joaquin. You think he's?
I think
he thinks well.
This?
We think he's doom scrolling
a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. Or just like there's a lot of things that we can get into about the general politics of the movie and things like that. And I do think that there is kind of a I feel like he occupies that kind of zone.
I could see that for him. He's an informed citizen.
Yeah, there's a lot of performativeness across all political spectrums in this movie that I think he
is something
wants
I admire.
to like cut through. Yeah,
it's something I admire. I don't feel like this movie is out to drag any specific sect of our society.
Yeah,
it is here to drag all of us, and that's something that I love. I think that Aster himself has spoken about how everyone wants to talk about the politics and the COVIDness and the topicalness of this movie, but what he has wanted to talk about a lot is the framework for the movie, which we can say it begins and ends with a shot of the same land and later the same building on that land, which is, Evan, what is it? Tell the people.
It is a data center owned by a company named Solid Gold Magikarp.
That's correct. It's pretty vague what this company does, but
vaguely AI related.
But Ari Aster has pointed out that this movie, it kind of is that part of it is overshadowed by the politics, and it is seemingly purposeful, and it is trying to distract us as viewers from what's right under our noses and what the real evil is, which is these tech companies coming into small towns and for good mentality, trying to sell some kind of growth and jobs and opportunities that maybe haven't been there before. And I think that Ari Aster sees that as the real threat that's tearing us apart, and everything else is a distraction.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it too is just there are problems that exist in the world as well, but there are problems that exist in your community. And while the problems that exist worldwide are very important and very real, there is an element of we should take care of what's happening here directly
what's happening
first.
And I think, the Joaquin Phoenix character is very much locked in on that from the get-go. This is still taking place in May, as we noted, and I believe he says there is no COVID in Eddington multiple times.
Yeah.
He tells people when they're telling him to put on his mask, he's like, there's no COVID in Eddington. We don't have to do this. He's trying to flex his muscles a little bit. I'm not sure even to be going against the grain. I think it's just he's seeing it as irrational.
Well, I do think that's a really smart, a really smart thing the movie does is it doesn't really paint him as someone who says like COVID isn't real. I think he recognizes like this is real and it's hurting people. But it's not simply, it's not here. And it's something that I definitely thought about when the pandemic was happening and the lockdown started happening. Just like, what about all these towns where there aren't people going into them? Obviously, it was a really scary time because no one knew how the disease worked or how the virus worked and everything like that.
Right. This is still early COVID. We did not know. I mean, even Pedro Pascal has a line that I think everybody laughed at when he's trying to warn his teenage son, where he says something like, COVID-19 lives on paper for 5 weeks. And then everybody laughed because now we know that that's not true. But in May 2020, we had no idea.
Yeah.
We simply didn't know.
Was still like kind of working in production then and like having to wipe down all these services just because we like just had no idea of like how it all worked. You know?
This film takes you straight back to the time when you were like ordering groceries and then wiping them down with Clorox wipes before you would put them into your kitchen.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that everybody is going to be ready to go back to that time.
Yeah.
But I think that the movie is very effective because it commits so hard to that.
And I think it's also like in a weird way, like even less about COVID than you would think. Like
it's
that's
not.
almost
it's
just like
the
how
backdrop.
That's
it's
just like how they have to sell it to you in a sense because it's about so many different other things that's going on not only in that time but also now as society. And I think, oh my God, there's so much in it.
Right. 2020 is the backdrop because it's a loaded year for a loaded movie.
Yeah. So all that being said, I think all the ideas that it tackles between like COVID and kind of like performative action and conspiracies, protests. I do think everything's great.
Police brutality.
I've been thinking the last few days, police brutality. I've been thinking the last few days about how I'm like, does the movie need to provide answers to any of this? And I feel like if anything, it just is like, no, this needs to be the conversation starter. This movie needs to open up the field for conversation to be had and to be discussed around these subjects, or else otherwise everyone just gets siloed off and like, you know, like
I do think that is what the movie is trying to tell us, but I have read some reviews where people don't come out with that point of view. People just feel like Ari Aster is throwing his hands up and trying to incite something that is going to be more divisive for the sake of being divisive. Mm-hmm. But I really didn't get that feel from the tone of the movie.
Yeah.
From the performances, from the writing, from any of it. I do agree. I think that it's supposed to get you talking about it and get you to, I think that the Joaquin Phoenix character in particular is drawn in a way to make him not so divisive. Like he is not out here with a MAGA hat on. He is not out here like, he seems... Actually, him and his wife, played by Emma Stone, seem very wary of the kind of tinfoil hat conspiracy right-wing stuff that her mother, played by Deirdre O'Connell, who is living with them in the film, is spouting to them. And she's committed. Yeah. She is literally printing stuff out at the breakfast table, like Pizzagate
leaving them
stuff.
Notes.
Yeah, or about that, like, what was it? It was like the trial, like, run for a potential pandemic that Johns Hopkins did. And she's like, why would they do this? Yeah. And Joaquin Phoenix and Emma Stone are just quietly eating breakfast. It's pretty funny. Because we all have that person in our lives, almost. We all have that family member. Yeah. But I do think it's interesting that they are very careful, Phoenix and Aster, not to make Joaquin like too far into either camp. Yeah. He's just a guy.
But then we see what happens when a guy gets pushed in a way that he doesn't like. And then it starts to go down some pretty dark paths.
It starts with the mask thing. It starts with him being asthmatic and not wanting to wear the mask. And I think at first you kind of can empathize with him.
Yeah,
you
I mean,
can
when
be
they're...
like, okay, Ari Aster is careful to do shots of like the oxygen machine.
Right.
There's a lot of shots of Joaquin taking the inhaler. And I think, you can empathize and be like, okay, maybe he really can't breathe in it.
Yeah, and then while they're like kind of the grocery store that won't let in the older man who's like who's similarly to Joaquin, to Joe Cross is like, I can't breathe in that, like it's hard, and he's like, there's a way to do it, and that's what Joe Cross says to the store owners. He's like,
he says that multiple
there
times.
is
There's
a way to do it where you can still keep people's best interests in mind, while acknowledging that like it's not going to work out for the specific thing is not going to be right for everybody.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which is a stark opposition to the Pedro Pascal character, who is already the mayor of Eddington and is running for re-election seemingly unopposed, and he is trying to keep the peace.
And not only that, he's trying to appease the governor because he's trying to win this contract to get the data center there. So there's almost
he's being pulled by a few strings.
There's an overcorrection in what he's doing in how they're protecting the town that ends up pushing Joe even further, right?
Exactly.
And in ways that you can be like, well, we understand that he's trying to keep everyone safe, but we also know that it's maybe a little bit much, like what he's doing. Yeah.
And it feels invasive to people, and the people are ready to consider a different option. But how do we get into how that option changes without spoiling the film? I think we may have to.
Yeah, I think this might be it. So if you've been listening and you're like, well, should I check out Eddington? I don't know if I want to watch this movie about COVID. It's about more than that. It's a movie that's going to challenge you for sure, no matter where you live in America or internationally. It's going to be a movie that really challenges your way of thinking, challenges like some of the ways that you maybe have responded to certain things that have happened in the last couple of years. And it's also ultimately just going to be a thriller. Like if you are watching an Ari Aster movie, if you're a fan of Ari Aster and you're watching this thinking it's going to be like a horror movie, it's a horror in a different way, and it's
horrifying.
Yeah.
But also it is. The movie does pose some challenges, but I don't want to leave people thinking that it's a challenging movie, because I don't think that's necessarily like a thumbs up all the time.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
But I want to also point out how funny it is.
It's really funny. Purposely very funny.
Yes. There were a lot of laughs in my theater. Best, most relevant Katy Perry needle drop of all time.
Incredible
Just stuff.
Really incredible stuff.
So it is a movie that will make you think, but you will laugh during it. You will be impressed by Aster's visuals as always. I give it a thumbs up.
Yeah, me too.
Check it out.
So go check it out.
And then come back and listen to us spoil it.
Right.
Because we're going to spoil it right now.
Right now.
Okay. There's a very specific turning point in this movie. And it is set up for us. It is broadcast right from the start.
Yeah.
The movie starts with, as we said, the image of that land that is going to have the data center on it. And there is an unhoused man just kind of grumbling to himself and being in the shot, just kind of walking around.
And we're hearing him talk,
Not saying anything of consequence or anything, but he ends up at this bar in the beginning of the movie, right?
And I think he's saying something along the lines of like, nobody listens to me, right? Or which will come back as like a theme in general.
Yes,
but yes, he ends up at Pedro Pascal's character's Ted Garcia's bar.
Right. And he calls Joe, the sheriff, and Pedro Pascal has just kind of locked him out and is, like, this is a disturbance.
The bar shouldn't be open in the first place. He's just there meeting with city council members.
Yes, the bar isn't really open in the first place. But at which Joe Cross does point out that this is breaking protocol, but it's kind of the first clash between them where we see the tension between them. Yeah. And I think that that's really smart, but also this unhoused man, the way that he is handled in this scene telegraphs the turn of the movie. And how is he handled, Evan?
Like Joe just comes in and just basically like wrestles him out of there.
It's pretty violent. It's very brute force. And there is a teenager filming it, of course, because it's 2020.
It's Ted's son too, right?
Ted's son.
Yeah.
So he is filmed, and it is later published, and people, mark him as a bad cop, a bad sheriff in the middle of this mayoral campaign that he's trying to run against Ted. But the turn of the movie comes back at that same bar where Joe is kind of driving through, walking past.
And after protests have happened
Yes.
in the city because of the murder of George Floyd.
Right. This is at the midpoint of this film.
Yeah.
There's a lot that's already happened. But he drives past this bar again. The windows are smashed. There's like an oil can or something through the window. And this unhoused man is behind the bar. Again, just drinking, just like kind of minding his own business, but also clearly very drunk, clearly disorderly. And Joaquin Phoenix shoots him. Just point blank shoots him like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, that's off and running. That's kind of like from there, Joe is a different character.
Yeah. Audible crowd reactions.
I gasped. I absolutely did. And
the murder of 2 more characters, basically, that...
Those quickly follow, but I want to say that I think it's so purposeful how this murder is handled and how we are shown immediately that Joe Cross kind of knows how to dispose of this body.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Knows how to, get rid of this man, and it's never talked about where this man goes because, as is telegraphed in the opening, nobody listens to him. Nobody notices that he's gone. But it does give Joe an idea of how to get Ted out of the mayoral race. But before we jump fully into that, we should step back and talk about what brought Joe to this point, because there's a pivotal part of Joe Cross's character, and that is that he is a wife guy. he is a wife guy.
To Emma
he
Stone.
Is down bad for Emma Stone.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. But Emma Stone is, or her character Louise, is being influenced by her mother, and they attend. Is it a rally? Is it a gathering?
Yes, or like a speaking event held by a character played by Austin Butler.
Yes, named Vernon, and he is very clearly, to us, the audience, a cult leader.
Yeah.
He professes that he was abused as a child, that he was taken by the government and experimented on and sexually assaulted. All of these things that... Even in the scene where he is describing what happened to him to Joe, Louise, and Louise's mother, even Louise's mother, the conspiracy theorist, doesn't seem to totally be buying it.
Yeah.
But Louise is looking at Vernon the way that I looked at every film bro in college. She just has the biggest doe eyes looking at this guy like, oh my God, he's so smart and dreamy and he knows all, like...
But also
it's very clear that he has a hold on her. Like, what he is selling to Louise, she is buying.
And it's also not fully confirmed by the movie, but effectively, Louise was legitimately abused as a child, most likely by her father.
Yes, the movie doesn't quite come out and say this, but it is very heavily implied. And I think that the turning point of what ultimately causes Louise to act on that trauma is Joe having a disastrous town hall after these riots, it's not a riot, it's like a botched display of like protesting, but also some people coming in and the way that it would actually be, which I appreciated, where there were people demonstrating very peacefully, and then there were people there who were trying to purposely stoke the flames of that peaceful protest.
Right.
So not quite a riot, but it is a botched kind of protest assembly meeting. And then Joe has this horrible town hall where there's only like 4 people there, but he records it and he tries to say that Ted is a rapist and that he raped Louise as a teenager and got her pregnant and all of these things. And that is seemingly the tipping point for the Emma Stone character.
Yeah.
And she is out. He literally goes home. I'm like, was that the tipping point? Because Austin Butler shows up really fast. Like, her bags are packed,
Yeah, I mean, you could say that she was already, like, considering leaving anyways. Like, it doesn't seem like that they have, like, a very, fulfilling relationship from her side of things. But yeah, once she leaves, he's stuck with her mother, who's crazy.
Very true.
And
so, yes, she leaves him to join Vernon, and crucially, what she does once she leaves is record a video and post it denouncing what Joe said about Ted, and seemingly admitting that her father was her abuser, which turns her mother against her as well.
Yeah.
So Louise.
And that's the last we see of her in the movie, really. We see her once more later on. But
she's kind of, I mean, Austin Butler and Emma Stone are not as much in this movie as you would think. But
yeah, now Joe is...
But they are powerful parts of it.
Yeah, Joe has almost like nothing to lose at this point. And once he kind of like takes out his anger on the unhoused character, I believe named Lodge. And once that happens, he decides like, you know what? Let's go fully in on this thing.
In for a penny, in for a pound. The next thing that we see, it's not even clear to us that Joe is behind this initially. Next thing we see is just Ted in his house living a peaceful like weekday night, probably with his son.
The protests.
He's watching the news
in Michigan.
He's watching the news. He's yelling at his son because his son has a girl over, and it's breaking their COVID bubble. And then all of a sudden, in the midst of yelling at his son, he is shot.
Yeah.
Just like from behind, like straight through the torso.
That was, such a while. And like, because you don't really know what's going on, I remember just like, I think everyone is like that meme where the like sitting up meme. Like,
the whole theater was like, what?
Like, yeah.
But yeah. And then it gets worse because his son like hears that his words are cut off and comes running, and his son is shot.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look good.
And you realize now that you're like, any like sympathy you had for Joe kind of like goes out the window, right?
It's
like
out.
And
because they show him, at first you don't know who you have an idea, but you don't, because now we've seen that Joe is capable of this kind of violence. But then you get the confirmation. You get the slow like reveal over the gun that it's Joaquin Phoenix's face.
Did you think there was a subplot in this movie where Ted Garcia's son was interested in this girl. Sarah, I believe her name was. I can't remember.
She was funny. I was laughing. She had me rolling.
White feminism, performative stuff,
very much,
but also in a way well-meaning, well-intended, but like as you would expect, taken too far. But she was somehow romantically linked to the young black police officer Michael.
That didn't really add up to me, but I suppose we're supposed to believe that Michael is right out of high school, or shortly out of high school, and that this was maybe his high school girlfriend. I thought that the age gap was a little much, but maybe I was just thinking too literally in terms of how old that actor probably is.
Did you think that Michael was the one who shot Ted?
Never.
Okay. For some reason, there was the subplot. Basically, they were trying to make him jealous, and there's this other character who we'll talk about a little bit more later, Brian, who is like becomes like a weird young kid who kind of like stokes the flames in certain ways.
Brian. I'm terrified that my future son will be a Brian.
No!
I just want this on record right now.
I mean, I think that's something that that's a theme that we haven't even touched, but just like how kids are affected by social media now and what they choose to do.
And just how they're influenced by current events and what the algorithm presents to them about current events. In this movie, it's still Twitter, still the Bluebird Twitter, not X. Period piece. But
if you want to be known or famous, you should be doing XYZ things.
Yeah, but also another element that I hadn't even thought of is that Brian is trying to impress a girl. Yeah. So he's just trying to get into Angela Davis books because that's what Sarah's into. And who among us would not probably in high school? I mean,
and then we see that go a very different direction later on. But after this turning point, the movie just becomes like a thriller, right? Just kind of like an action thriller.
It is leads up to this huge Western kind of standoff with the twist. Yeah. But yeah, I think that Ted's death comes very abruptly for a reason.
Yeah. And it was also great because I was like, oh, thank God, because Pedro Pascal was already not in this movie a ton. I'm glad he's not in it more, just because He's just in everything right now, and everyone's like, Pedro's too overexposed.
Hey, he's working, and more importantly, his agents are working.
Sure.
His agents
standing up for the
working.
agents on Back to the Future pod.
That is not what I'm doing. I'm just saying that he has a good team.
No, he's got a great team because I do appreciate the variety of work he's done this last year. Anyways,
but yes,
this last half of the movie was so wild. Joe double crosses Michael, basically plants his stuff on him, tries to blame everything on him. The Pueblo police officers that we haven't even really talked about, the indigenous
Pueblo
police officers,
which at first you're like, thank God that they have come into the picture.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking the Pueblo police officer is the only one that finds like the shell casing from Joe's gun. And you think, oh my God, thank goodness somebody is going to figure out that Michael is not responsible for this double murder.
Yeah.
But also, I'm not going to lie, I was having, the scene where Michael is seemingly being framed and being arrested by Joe and, the other deputy. I was having some, like, have you ever seen the alternate ending to Get Out?
Oh, yeah.
I was like having that kind of flash where I was like, oh my God, is Ari Aster going to do this? Is he going to show us that this is how the system works?
Right.
And I'm really glad that he did not go in that direction. Mm-hmm. But the other direction that he goes in, I'm not sure that I really am so on board with either.
Yeah.
It goes from, like one swing to another. And it's hard to explain. So I'm just going to say that Michael is broken out of jail, the town's one single holding cell, by Antifa. By Antifa. Who, I mean, it is like kind of sprinkled in throughout the movie, just in various news clippings that, there's Antifa rioters and stuff, like people, you see it on the screens in the movie, but they are not like a really pivotal part of it until you don't know who broke Michael out and what's going on. And then all of a sudden, they find him and he's standing in the middle of like an open field surrounded by gasoline. And it's like, what is going on?
Basically use him as bait to get the rest of the police, the only other two police officers in town to go out there.
Right.
And then a huge action set piece ensues after Michael is... after the three of them are blown up, basically, Michael somehow survives.
Michael does survive. So does Joe.
The younger police officer, who's definitely secretly very racist.
Yes. Yeah. Blown to bits. But I was very impressed by this sequence. I thought that it was thrilling. I thought that it was propulsive. I thought that almost everything about it made a lot of sense.
I can't stop thinking about the shot where Joe is running, and you understand why this now feels like this helps put an end cap to like the Western beat, right? This is the last shootout of the Western, and you see Joe running in the town after he goes into Gunther's like gun supply place.
I loved that.
And the shot where the camera is like turns and then he turns, you know what I'm talking about, and just this long single take. Yeah. It also just like to me perfectly replicates this movie where it's like people are looking for problems or reacting to problems that aren't there for them yet, and they're not concerned about the immediate, which is that there's a guy hiding in the shadows ready to take him down. But he is just like so paranoidally looking.
Yes,
and it's just done all over the place so well. The shot feels so much like, hey, it's a shot, but it also just feels so well slotted in that moment. I
loved it because I'm with him in that moment. I'm looking over his shoulders. Mm-hmm. I am anticipating that somebody is going to jump out from the shadows and take me down. Yeah. It's very riveting as a sequence. And how does that sequence fare for Joe? Evan?
Joe, basically one of the Antifa members comes out and stabs Joe just straight in the head after they go back and forth, but it just lands straight into his skull. And who's there to save him?
Who comes out to save
Black Lives
the day?
Matter Brian Eddington Brian, who comes out filming with a pistol and he fires at the Antifa member.
He takes down the Antifa guy, and Joe is like laying there seemingly lifeless, but Brian excitedly is like, Sheriff Cross, I saved you, and is filming the whole thing.
And when he goes to the hospital, we get these blurry sequences from Joe's POV. And you know what I think actually saves him is that Joe has COVID in that moment. Didn't click till right now, but you can hear the people in the ambulance being like, "Oh, he's got a temperature. Right. We've got to send him to this." But they're like, "No, he's basically gone." It's like, "No. We have to try. It's protocol because he has a certain temperature." And so they bring him to the hospital.
I'm just realizing this right now. That's a great observation, and you're so right, because it's just a runner throughout this whole film and kind of a joke that, you know, from the get-go of this movie, you're kind of wondering when Joe is going to get COVID, because he's the one who's saying COVID is not in Eddington, and he, you know, he has asthma. And even my girlfriend was like, I was expecting him to just drop dead of, you know, some sort of asthma attack induced by COVID. But really what happens is so much more interesting when you put it that way.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, that once he gets COVID, you feel in the moment. He gets, basically, if you didn't pick up on it, he gets COVID from Lodge, the unhoused person.
From killing Lodge.
Yeah, from killing Lodge, because, you know, that's how it gets into Eddington, right? Like someone has to bring it in. But he gets it from Lodge, and in the aftermath, once he gets tested and he's waiting for the results, you can see he's kind of ragged. He's coughing, he's breathing, and you can almost feel like, oh, his actions are now also affected by the fact that he is sick and feeling sick, and he's just doing whatever he can do so he can just stop being at the present moment. Anyways, COVID saves him. Crazy. And we get this insane coda to the movie, which I feel like, having never seen an Ari Aster movie, this feels emblematic of his stuff.
So true.
Is that right?
I haven't seen it.
Is that true or no? I feel like his movies do. I've heard that they kind of have these like interesting codas to them.
They do. I would say the exception is Midsommar. Okay. Midsommar has a very, I think, not abrupt ending, but a very natural ending to me.
Okay, got it.
But yes, I would say that, there are codas present. This one I think is the most effective.
And it's also really long.
It is. It's quite long.
I was in there. I was like, wow, we're in here much longer than I thought we'd be.
Yes, it's quite long, but usually I'm really not a fan of a coda in a movie. But this one really encompassed a lot of what's happening in present day today. I believe it's only supposed to take place a year later, but it felt really topical to right now. In which Brian has taken his newfound fame from saving the now crowned mayor, Joe Cross. He's the mayor now.
Oh my God.
He's famous for saving the mayor from an Antifa riot. And so he's like posting on
he gets like
social
a Medal
media.
of Honor from Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yes, he's like a far right boy.
He
now
moves to Florida.
Has a girlfriend, is like, wow, so thankful for my life, fuck the libs. Joe does become mayor with the added curveball of the fact that he is seemingly he's paralyzed from the attack. He is nonverbal. He, the effects of that attack have impacted his day-to-day life. He needs a caregiver, and that caregiver is none other than Luiz's mother, his mother-in-law, who's kind of the de facto mayor at this point.
Because he can't speak. But also the advisor to Ted Garcia, who remains on as kind of some type of advisor on Joe's team. And you can tell that the two of them have somehow worked something out. There's some deal going on. But basically the data bank thing comes in, right? So now the shot that you've been referring to is that now this land has been purchased by Solid Gold Magikarp, and it's also like in cooperation with the Pueblo people as well.
And they kind of cut the ribbon and open the data center. And
everyone has these things. Like now there's a wind farm in New Mexico. Now there's these murals dedicated to the Pueblo police officer on the data bank or something like that. Yeah.
But also crucial to this scene is Michael. Michael is there. Michael is still a cop. He is the new sheriff. And he is there purely to film Joe and to be watching Joe, who is in a wheelchair or a motorized wheelchair that I suppose it's not clear if he has function of his hands. I don't know if he controls it or if the if Luiz's mother does. But
do you think Michael knows everything that Joe has done at that point? Like, do you think he like Joe must have been the one that like killed Ted and so there, I mean, you can also hear off screen that it's like, hey man, you can't be filming video or something,
right?
So I was very confused, like what was going on with him there, but you know that there's like resentment and Michael the whole time had been like, well, my father never made it past captain, I want to make it past captain, and he's gotten it, but kind of like at what cost?
What cost? I mean, his face is scarred at this point from the explosion.
The people he trusted in, he can't trust anymore, you know.
People who he thought were boosting him up for the right reasons, like Joe.
And also didn't, you know, when George Floyd, as the murder happens, they're like, Michael, are you okay? They check in with him a lot. Like, obviously they're overcorrecting.
In a funny way,
but
yeah.
in a way that's like, I think
in a white guilt way.
Yeah, but I thought they, like, you know, they were like, that was bad. Are you okay?
Right.
You don't want to spend time talking about it? That's fine.
Yeah. No, it's not disingenuous in any way. But no, I think that we are supposed to believe that Michael knows what happens in that moment. Especially, I think that he is presented to us as a very smart character, as a, you know, a quote unquote good cop. Yeah. Who is going to do this investigation himself if no one else is going to. You know, rest in peace, the Pueblo police officer who had it. He figured it out, and then he gets his head blown off by Antifa. But what a sentence to say.
I think he gets this. Does Joe accidentally shoot him first? I think Joe shoots him first by accident, and then when he lands, then Antifa shoots him in the head.
That makes it so much worse.
Yeah,
but but does die in the process of trying to get to the truth. And I think that Michael has gotten to the truth in that moment, but it's just a matter of how that truth is going to manifest itself.
Yeah. So after that ceremony happens, Joe returns home, this beautiful manor that they live in with Luiz's mother. There's a caretaker that's there. And then they watch a video of Austin Butler's character. We see Emma Stone there sitting on the sidelines, pregnant, which is something that Joe also wanted. He wanted to have a kid.
It's the opening shot of the movie.
Yeah.
The opening shot is him in his car watching a YouTube video on how to ask your partner to have a baby when they might not be ready to.
Yeah.
So we know that he wanted a family with Luiz, and we know based on one very tender scene between them that they do get before Luiz takes off, that Joe did know the truth. Joe knew that Luiz was assaulted not by Ted but by her father.
Yeah.
He asks her only once and she doesn't answer him, and her silence is the answer.
And there's so many unanswered questions there too, where it was like there's this implication that Joe was on duty with her father
when he
died. Did he do something to her father? And also, like, did Michael's father die as a captain due to like some maybe police brutality that, like, you know, didn't get addressed? You know, like, there's so many other things
layers at play in this movie, which is what I think makes it so rich. And I like that we don't get those answers. Yeah. I like that Ari Aster does not feel the need to give us that satisfaction. Yeah,
and you can just keep thinking of like how this, because now the characters all kind of reveal themselves to, no one is wholly good, no one is wholly bad. There's this weird gray area that a lot of these characters live in, that we probably live in as human beings, but like due to, you know, a certain way, like everyone has to like be very vocal about their opinions, right? Whereas like this movie's asking you to kind of like think about your reactions to things and how what things are real or not. Right.
It's your reactions versus the actual impact that it has to you.
Yes.
And yeah, I think that scene is quietly very devastating. Him realizing that not only is Luiz never coming back, but she is having the life that he wanted to have with her with somebody else. And then we get a real great capper on Joe's story where he is tucked into bed by his caregiver. Yeah. And Luiz's mom crawls into bed next to him. And you have this moment where you're like, oh, are they like lovers? Is that what's happening here? And then the caregiver strips his scrubs off and gets into bed next to Luiz's mother. And you're like, oh, I see what's happening here. And poor Joe kind of can't do anything. Yeah. I mean, you say poor Joe because of the situation, but also he's done some bad shit.
Yeah. And then we see the data center all lit up at night.
What do we see before the data center? It's a very important scene. We see Michael practicing once again.
Yeah.
This is a runner throughout the movie, practicing shooting with this certain kind of rifle, certain kind of assault rifle, that, you know, but I suppose, I mean, I guess anyone could buy, but a police officer would have.
Yeah, and specifically the one that Joe used to kill Ted earlier.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I think the implication is that he is someday thinking about killing Joe.
Yeah. Yeah.
As revenge.
Yeah.
And I just want to put it out there. I don't want that movie. Not because I wouldn't watch it. I think I would.
It would just
really
be like an
it.
empty sequel, right? Yeah.
I don't think Ari Aster would do that, but I just want to say I think it's a beautiful note to leave it on, and I like it how it is.
Yeah. I totally forgot about that moment. Yeah, but you're right. That was great. Yeah. And then the data center.
The data center. I think that is what Ari Aster wants us to believe is the real threat.
Yeah.
That everything else is just a distraction. For, like, everything else that is trying to tear us apart from our communities, from our neighbors, from, you know, people that we love, is just kind of distraction. It's just kind of noise compared to what the real threats here are.
And we're helping the real threats along the way by either ignoring them or assisting them in ways that we don't even know. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. We're all complicit, I think, is a key takeaway of this movie. And I think that a lot of films have tried to get that message across, but I think few do it as well as Eddington ends up doing. Yeah,
because it's just a little bit more subtle until that just last final note, you know, it just hits you right there, and it just prior to that you're just kind of wrapped up in the story.
Lights up in the theater. The lights came up in our theater as the data center was still on screen. Yeah, like the credits roll over the data center. I think that's very purposeful. Yeah. But something else that we should talk about that is purposeful is the addition of COVID-19 and everything to do with that time period into this film.
Yeah, because this was going to be Ari Aster's first movie even before Hereditary. And he was like, well, horror is just easier to fund, so we'll just do that. But so he wrote this all the way back in 2011 before. Right. So the addition of COVID was, came much later. I would love to see what the original version of the script was. I would love be really to know interested. If it still involved like big tech in that way.
I think that it probably did, just based on how Aster has spoken about that element of the script. Mm-hmm. I would be curious to see that version, but I think that the COVID elements and the 2020 impact on this film is such a pivotal part that I kind of can't see the movie without it now.
Yeah, it just adds so much. I mean, the way we describe COVID as a backdrop, it just adds so much of those things to it, right? Like these real world events that we can kind of set our lives against, and also like look at ourselves in that way, and then see how the movie is like treating these like bigger threats that again are not related to the immediacy of what's happening in the community.
Exactly. I think that the texture of this movie works incredibly well because of recency bias, which is usually something that I would not say for any movie. Usually recency bias is kind of a turnoff for audiences, and it might very well be for this movie. But I think that in this case, probably because we are still living with ramifications of the COVID-19 pandemic right now, it is particularly powerful.
Yeah. I haven't seen a movie like this one where I've like so wanted to watch it again immediately, and also so not wanted to watch it again. Like the idea of having to go back to the theaters and like, I would love to just be like, man, if I can't wait to like get this on Blu-ray or just borrow it so I can just fast forward to the scenes I want to see over and over again.
I can't wait. A24 drop that 4K. I'm gonna buy it.
But yeah, definitely just so good. I feel like we could just talk about this movie for hours. Honestly, we
definitely could.
So much. But one thing, again, we teased at the beginning, this is like a modern Western.
It is. It's a modern Western, and I think that Westerns can exist in the way that they used to.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll get into some of those reasons why when we talk about the movie we're pairing this with, High Noon, and we'll be back right after this break. As usual, thank you all for watching. We really hope you liked Eddington. So we hope you liked our thoughts on it. Let us know what you thought about the movie if you've been watching. Mm-hmm. Let us know what other movies you're excited about this year.
please. We are filling up our calendar pretty fast.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
if there's something that you can't wait to see a double feature with, please let us know.
Yeah, if you really want us to pair Smurfs and Avatar: The Way of Water.
Oh my God, the link is just blue people.
The link is just blue people. Can blue people live in a world that belongs to them?
Can blue people have their own society?
But yeah, let us know. It's obviously we enjoy talking about the movies, and we're excited to hear what you're all excited about.
Yes.
All right.
Oh wait, Evan, I almost forgot.
What?
This is where we would put a sponsorship.
I thought we were gonna move on from that.
Okay, we can. And we're back.
We're
Evan,
back.
What are we talking about next, Evan?
We're talking about the time when the sun is the highest in the sky, high noon.
It's not just a hard seltzer. It is a classic Western. Even though when you Google high noon now, the first thing that comes up is the fucking hard seltzer. And I just think that that's an affront to cinema.
Is that your favorite hard seltzer?
No.
What's your favorite? Is it a Truly?
No, too much sugar. Honestly, no, I don't really like any hard seltzers. I like a canned cocktail.
Oh, sure.
When it's already mixed up for you and has like
Yeah.
a little tin taste, so that I feel like I'm back in college.
10 stars. Big
Tin
deal.
stars.
Big deal in the movie.
Big connection here.
I think White Claw, which is kind of basic
White
to
Claw,
say, but I feel
ooh.
like I've come around on being
Your
not
inner
being-
sorority girl is coming out.
Yeah, girl math last week.
Girl
inner
math,
sorority
inner sorority girl
this
week. Right.
But no sorority girls in the movie High Noon.
No, I don't think Grace Kelly was in a sorority.
But yeah, this is a classic Western.
Yes.
Released July 24th, 1952. Directed by Fred Zinnemann. Written by Carl Foreman, based on a short story called The Tin Star by John W. Cunningham, starring Gary Cooper, Grace Kelly, Thomas Mitchell, Lloyd Bridges, Katie Jurado, and Ian McDonald. Shout out to Videotech and Eagle Rock now. They used to be in South Pasadena.
Videos or Videotech?
Videotech. They used to be in
Videotech.
South Pasadena. They moved to a new location.
Okay.
Shout out to them for I rented the Blu-ray from them. They've got a really great collection as well there. They sometimes do screenings. And also when I walked in, they were playing The Hateful Eight. So it was a big Western mood this weekend.
Yeah, you were already put into the tone of this pod.
Yeah. How'd you watch this movie?
I watched this on an Amazon Fire TV at my girlfriend's parents' house.
Incredible.
And we could only access it on a streamer that I did not know existed.
Fubo?
No, Fubo. I'm a real head. I know about Fubo.
You're a Fubo freak?
I'm a Fubo freak. No, I'm referring to MGM Plus.
Oh yes, MGM Plus.
I did not realize that MGM Plus was a real thing, but that is how Amazon Prime presented this movie to me for rental. So we watched it, and honestly, it looked great. I was expecting it to look pretty condensed and like streamer quality, but it looked really good.
That's great. Yeah, I feel like because when the connection's good, And,
it was firing. That Amazon Fire TV was firing. Sponsor us. No.
So when we get into the movie, of course, this new game we're doing, will movie 1 make more than movie 2?
Yes, this was
the box office battle.
This was Evan's idea, and I just want to say I don't think that he realized how much money High Noon had grossed. So I did a little research last night.
Okay.
And so far, Eddington has made, it's only been out for 3 days. Has made $625,000 at the box office.
Not bad for A24, I would say.
Not bad
right?
for an opening couple days. High Noon in its whole runtime, which was definitely more than 3 days.
It's got to be 8 months or something. Movies used to be in theaters for
many
a long time.
months. This was in 1952. Made $12 million. Okay. Which is equivalent to, guess how much in 2025?
12 million. Like 80 million?
$146 million. Thanks to an inflation calculator that I used online.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
does that mean?
So this was a massive hit.
Did High Noon make more money than? I'm like trying to think. Has it made more money than any Marvel movie?
I mean, no, but maybe Thunderbolts.
Maybe.
Shots fired.
Yeah, shots. Unfortunately.
But yeah, this was a huge hit when it came out. And I mean, I think a big part of that was the stars. I mean, Gary Cooper was in so many Westerns. He was a Western star. He was an icon of the genre. And Grace Kelly was Grace Kelly.
Yeah.
So I think
Star on the rise.
Star on the rise.
Yeah.
But I mean, even from the get-go, I think people were going to see movies for her. It was part of her appeal. But yeah, this was a very complicated film when it came out.
Yeah.
It was received in a way that was not like, you know, the box office would have you think it was a glowing reception.
Right.
And I think that the right heads prevailed, and like it is a classic of the genre and of all film. I had to study this film. It was the first film that I watched when I went to USC for grad school.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I had a wonderful professor there, and this was the first movie he showed us to break down the screenplay of.
Wow,
And,
that's so interesting. Oh my
great
god.
class. Shout out to Irving.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I watched it in undergrad in film school, but it was one of those screenings that we went to college together.
Yes, we did.
We had a class where you would have to go to screenings at night. You do a lecture in the morning and you do a screening at night.
History of Film 1.
Yeah, so this was one of those that towed the line between film 1 and film 2. I forget which one it was, but oh my god, I remember they would probably just like play DVDs for us, and which at a time
the
when
TA
we went,
would just pop in
and when
DVD.
we went to college, like DVDs were still like fine to watch,
Yeah,
but
that
DVDs
was
are
cutting
really
edge.
bad quality.
It really ages
and
us now.
so I was like, when I saw the pristine quality of this, the Blu-ray I had, I was like, wow, this movie looks great. It's also great that like schools are considering it, and not only because, you know, it's a great story and I'm sure a really good screenplay as well. Most of the movie takes place in real time, which we can talk a little bit about.
Yes.
But also, I think works really well as a kind of allegory of the time that it was produced in.
Very much so.
Which I think is another fun link to Eddington, you know? Yeah.
Right. No, these are both very much movies of their time. And I think that they will both stand the test of time for film history ones to come. But yeah, do you want to tell the people a little bit why High Noon was so controversial?
Yeah, so High Noon was kind of seen as, I believe, it was part of like the Red Scare, right?
Right.
The House of
writer, the screenwriter had been under investigation for McCarthyism.
Yes,
in the past. The director was very vehement that was not in the film purposefully, but you know, we can kind of read into it what the real world events were, even if they weren't as intentional as Ari Aster may have been with Eddington. But some things are just, you can't, it's inescapable. You can't see one and not think about the other.
100%. And yeah, I just think like the way the main character, and just seeing the way the movies, both of them feature main characters who are like so dedicated to their mission,
their towns, their communities.
Should we just get into what this movie is about as well?
Let's just tell the people.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen High Noon, obviously a high recommend for us. We had both seen the movie before. Yeah. But this is notably Evan's first on the board
pairing. Yeah, that's true.
This was an Evan choice, and I think it was a great choice because this film, much like Eddington, centers on Will Kane. He is the sheriff of this small town, and he starts the movie getting married to Grace Kelly's character and
hanging up the tin star.
Yeah, about to leave this town that we hear repeatedly from people in the town that he made livable. That he cleaned up this town from crime and from rogue Western cowboys like the film's antagonist Frank Miller, who we'll get to. But he's about to hang up the spurs in the first scene of this movie. He's a married man. He's going to run a general store with his wife, who he keeps calling a Quaker, which I think is really funny. Like, he doesn't say, like, oh, my lovely wife, my Quaker wife.
Yeah. But then he gets news that Frank Miller has been released, even though he was sentenced to death. The sentence just kept getting changed, became life in jail, and then he ended up getting released early.
Yes. So this is a criminal that he put in prison for murder.
Yes, who is now returning to this town. His kind of like crew is all waiting for him at the train station, and everyone now knows that there's an hour before Frank Miller comes back to town.
Yep, he's on the noon train.
So Kane decides, instead of leaving town, he's like, well, it's I know I'm not the sheriff anymore, but it's kind of like my duty. Like this man is after me, and I want to like protect the town, and this is just like part of what I'm supposed to do. So he comes back, and his wife is very disappointed, and she decides to, she's like, I'm leaving with or without you. I'm going to get on the train. And he's like, well, all I need is just some other deputies to, get a crew together, and we'll face these guys. I guess at some point he also had a lot of deputies, just like Joe Cross. Yeah. And also at some point they all left or got fired or something.
We don't really hear what happens to the deputies in Eddington or High Noon, but there is a prominent deputy in this film that is kind of anti-Will Kane.
And as we'll find out, even though he had such a nice send-off, other people are too. And he ends up having a hard time getting a crew together within this real-time hour. The movie almost keeps to a real hour of Kane going around town trying to round up a crew. And there are different reasons why people won't come to his aid, whether it's because they think the town was more interesting when there was like these criminals around, or they were bringing business in, or that the former sheriff, his like mentor, was just like, well, what's the point? You do this, and you put them in jail, and they come back out, and you just do it all over again. Yes. Why are we doing this?
It's a comment on the system, but they're working for, and it gives an insight into why maybe that sheriff ended up stepping down, and maybe why Kane is stepping down in a certain sense. We don't really feel until the end of the movie, but just talking about the real timeness of the movie, I think, is a brilliant choice in building up the anticipation, the suspense for Frank's arrival. And the way things go wrong in this hour for him, you really feel in his headspace by the time we get to that critical moment when Frank steps off the train. Yeah,
and the guys are also there's a lot of like shots of clocks in the movie.
So many shots of clocks
to remind you like how time is changing. And then there's also a the theme song is repeated over and over again, which also adds to the kind of like time effect.
That song's a banger. Okay?
Yeah, it is really good.
It's a fucking banger. Incredible stuff. But
Frank Miller comes to town.
it's truly like an old Western in the way that the whole song tells you the movie. Yeah. So if you don't want to watch the movie, we think you should, but you could just go listen to that
listen to the song. Yeah.
But yeah, as you were saying, I think that it's really important to note how the community reacts to Kane and his impact on it, just the same way that the community reacts to Joe Cross.
Yeah, they want to follow. The community in Eddington is basically like, hey, we're on board with the vision the mayor has, which in effect is also letting the darker evil, the solid gold Magikarp, come into town, right? By following what the mayor is saying, by appeasing the governor, that's getting him in a pole position to get the bid for this company to kind of sign away the rights or sign to purchase the land, and we're gonna land in Eddington, not knowing what they're doing, right? And the community is the same way. They're like, well, if you're here, Kane, we'll be in danger because he wants to fight you. If you're not here, it all might be fine, And some people want to see the fight, but some other people like, honestly, Kane, like, you should go, because if you're gone, maybe it's just gonna be, it'll blow over, which is no guarantee that would be the case.
But is there also not a case for, it's very similar, that disastrous town hall scene where Joe is trying to rally viewership, rally voters, and the scene where Kane goes into the bar and is trying to rally, deputies to help him, and nobody will stand with him. Yeah. Everybody is looking at him like he has 10 heads and like, this is your fault anyway. and you feel how the community looks at him in that moment.
Yeah.
But what this movie does really well is that they then give you the stark contrast of Cain going into the church and seeing all of the other members of the community who are not spending their Sunday at the saloon.
Yeah.
I know where I would be. But, but the church members seem to really respect and be loyal to Cain for cleaning up the town. And there is mention, speaking of solid gold Magikarp, there is mention by the pastor of this town and by, I believe, the mayor of this town, that they are expected to get more business.
Yes,
more,
from the north too. Yeah.
And that if this fight were to break out and make it into the news and stuff, it may drive those kind of forces away that would better the town.
Which Cain has already spent his career making it a livable town.
And now he's not going to get to potentially see the outcome of that either.
Because of his presence, which is
which is ironic, but also I think that both films having this overarching unseen looming presence of another outside force is very clear and very powerful, very palpable.
Both in the north as well as Frank Miller too, right? Frank Miller just hangs over the whole movie. That by the time he shows up, you can't. I don't know. I'm like a little let down because I'm like, he's just a guy. He's just a guy that kind of looks like Luke Wilson.
So true, and it really is kind of like. They say Frank Miller so many times.
And the song says it so many times. They
by the time he shows up, you're like, well, I guess this is Frank Miller. I've heard so much about him.
Who would if High Noon was made in 2025? Who would be playing Frank Miller? Who would the reveal be? I guess it depends on who Cain is, right? But who would?
Who's Cain?
Is Cain Matt Damon?
Ooh.
Or Clooney?
I feel like Cain is too Damon is too Boston. You need a Western reading guy.
I mean, it could be Timothy Olyphant, right? That's an easy.
Timothy Olyphant. Yeah. That's a good call. So Cain is Timothy Olyphant. And Frank Miller is.
It's just Walton Goggins. It's just Justified.
No. That would not be interesting for the pod or for the world. Pedro Pascal. I don't know if Pedro could do like a full villain turn.
You know what would be crazy if they remade this movie and they brought in a canceled actor for Frank
my God,
Miller.
it's Armie Hammer.
It's Armie Hammer. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Reprising his role from what was that bad movie he did? I mean, there's tons.
Which one? Yeah.
What's the Johnny Depp movie in the West? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh my God. It's is it the really Native American insensitive one?
Yes. That he is in. Armie Hammer is in.
Isn't it called like Bighorn or like?
It's something like that. It's
I'm gonna find out right now.
No, it's I think it's an old franchise. I think. Anyways,
frantically googling Armie Hammer.
Other people who could be Frank Miller.
The Lone Ranger.
The Lone Ranger. There it is. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that would be certainly a jump scare to have like a really a face that you are not expecting to see.
Yeah. The Josh Brolin could be good.
Josh Brolin
could be good either role.
Yeah,
really.
Absolutely. Yeah. And hey, Jeff Bridges, did you know that that's his dad in this movie or his grandfather?
Frank Miller?
Perhaps? No, the deputy. Cain's deputy.
What is it? Like Pell or something, right? Yeah.
Played by none other than Lloyd Bridges.
Oh, interesting.
So that would be kind of a natural progression.
Yeah.
Jeff Bridges, call us.
Yeah.
We have a pitch.
We have a pitch. Yeah. Oh man, that's cool. Anyways,
I think that Frank Miller hangs over this movie in a really foreboding way.
100%.
Maybe in a way that only COVID hangs over Eddington.
Yeah.
As the looming threat.
Yeah.
But yeah, when he does show up, you would say anticlimactic. I would say that it just gets very real. That like this is just a person.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
Like
great point.
They talk about him as if he is this horrifying force of evil throughout the movie, and that we only hear bits and pieces of all the havoc that he caused, all the crimes that happened when he was in town before he was imprisoned, and we know that he went to prison for murder. So we know that he's not a good guy. But then you see him and you kind of realize, oh, he is just a guy.
Yeah,
he's a guy with a gun.
Yeah,
and more specifically to take away from the traditional Western symbolism, he's a guy in a white hat.
Yeah, that's true.
Kane's in all black in this movie.
Yeah.
And traditionally in Westerns, the guy in the white hat is the good guy. You ride off into the sunset with the cowboy with the white hat, just like us. But you do not want to get into a fight with the cowboy with the black hat.
Yeah.
But, you know, in this film does subvert a lot of traditional Western tropes and traditional Western iconography, including that of Gary Cooper himself. Gary Cooper, he is playing the hero, but he is also kind of an anti-hero in this movie.
Yeah.
He's fighting for his town, but against the wants of this town. This town, as you mentioned, comes to the conclusion that he should just leave.
Yeah.
Like, that if you're not here, maybe there won't be a problem. And what does Kane decide to do but stand his ground? And, you know, against the wishes of the town and his Quaker wife.
Yeah. And honestly, like, you know, you could see an argument for leaving, right? Because, like,
absolutely.
Because
but I
then
see his argument also for staying.
Yeah.
Not only does he feel responsible for the town and for bringing this man back to it and the danger that he poses, but also Frank Miller could find him anywhere. You know?
That's
true.
true.
He's thinking ahead to, you know, the life that he wants to have with his new bride, and thinking, what's to stop Frank Miller from showing up in whatever town that we end up in, coming into our store and shooting me up?
There's also the other element of it too, where he had kind of refused to, or it's not 100% clear, but it's like the other deputy is not being promoted to be the sheriff, right? Which leaves
and
the town
very, very unhappy about.
Yeah, and it leaves the town undefended for a full day. If Kane is to leave, and they're waiting for the sheriff to come in town the next day.
He feels a traditional sense of responsibility.
Yeah.
That I think a lot of Western heroes do feel to their town, to their land. But I think that the way that he goes against the town's wants, it does make him an instant anti-hero.
Yeah. And similar to Joe in a sense, you know, like there's definitely a contingent of the town that agrees with at least some of the thinking that he's putting out there.
Well, yeah, because also again, in the beginning, Joe's not a bad guy. He's just trying to say some of us can't breathe in masks and we still need our groceries. Yeah. Which is, you know, on its face is something that any reasonable person can be like, okay, maybe. Yeah. You know, I understand that concern. And I think that Kane has a lot of those concerns too. Yeah. You know, if I'm not here, who will defend you? And, you know, the people in that church are saying, you don't have to defend us if you're not here. Yeah. But what happens anyway, Evan?
Well, Frank and his gang ride into town, and it's only Kane. It's just Kane against the four of them. He had one guy who was just like, wait, I thought we were going to get a whole crew together.
Oh my God.
If it's just you and me, I can't stand by you. But if there's more people, then sure, why not? But which again is a great kind of like thing to map the McCarthyism era onto, because it's like, you know, if no one was going to stand up for anyone, it's like everyone was just getting like, you know,
scapegoated.
Yeah, exactly. And so you get this really powerful scene of Kane like crying for a second in the office because he's been so let down, and then he sees the young boy who comes in and is like, hey, I'm ready to fight, like I'll fight with you, and he's like,
poor kid.
Yeah, and he's like, no, you're too young, like you can't get involved in this. And so
it's a great moment of realizing that this town that he gave a very large part of his life to has let him down. Yeah. But also a reminder of why he is fighting for them. Yeah. In the same scene.
Yeah. And seeing, and I'm sure it must have been probably impactful to see like the leading man like cry on screen.
Oh, I'm sure
too,
men didn't cry in the 50s, as we know.
And so it's he decides to walk into town. He walks, and at first you think he's walking by himself, that he's going to he's like, this is it, but then he does consider running away.
He does, which I think is real. I think again makes him a human being. I think it does kind of show a crack in that traditional macho Western iconography of a leading man, a leading cowboy who doesn't show emotion, who doesn't show fear, who doesn't, you know, who never would stop in the face of a showdown. And I think it makes Kane that much more compelling as a character. Yeah. To see this humanity in him and how much he cares, but how much he realizes he may be sacrificing his own life.
And then the fact that his deputy is the one that's encouraging him to leave at that point is kind of what makes him want to stay.
Yeah.
He's like, because the deputy is so excited to see that his friend is at least accepting that he can't win the battle, right? And he's like, you're doing the right thing by leaving. And the acknowledgement of that desertion in this moment is the right thing is something that Kane can't take, you know?
No, he can't. He rejects it.
Yeah.
And
So they get into a fight. He gets cleaned up later, and then
I mean, we're in the shootout.
Yeah.
We're in the shootout territory. Frank Miller has arrived.
Mm-hmm.
His men have arrived. I will say his men maybe not the best. They
get picked off
out
real
pretty quick.
Yeah, not as good as Antifa.
No, and Antifa a little more prepared for the showdown, let's say. They went over the choreography, the fight plan a little more.
Yeah. And they got a private jet, so they got stuff
true.
going on.
They got funding.
Yeah.
Probably from what does the movie say? Like Tom Hanks?
Yeah.
I don't know, the conspiracy of it all.
Yeah.
Not Forrest.
Another link.
Oh my God. They're endless. But yes, Frank Miller is eventually the last man standing, and after Grace Kelly takes one for the team, shoots out one of his men.
No longer a Quaker.
She grabs that gun and she defends her man.
Yeah.
As Kane's ex-lover tells her to do earlier in the film.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
I also thought was very funny, where I forgot about that whole scene where she's kind of like, who is this woman that my husband knows? And the kind of really shitty front desk guy is like, so funny. He knows his way to her room.
That dude was eating it up. Every scene.
He was chewing that scenery, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Grace Kelly is like, you don't like my husband, do you? And he's like, I do not. Incredible shit. But even that scene between them is just like, it's heartbreaking to realize that both of these women, love him, but realize how important he is, which is, maybe another Western trope.
Yeah.
Of like seeing a man's importance and choosing to step aside. But another trope that gets averted because she gets off the train and she decides that she is going to stand with him and that she is going to, get violent for him.
And not only does she kill someone in a pivotal moment, the second to last standing crew member, that when Frank Miller ends up grabbing her,
right, she's putting herself in danger.
It's not Kane that like initiates the first punch or anything. It's her. She turns around and scratches Frank in the face or something, or punches him, and then as he separates away from her and recoils in pain, that's when Kane can jump in and
that's
kill
when
him.
Kane can take that shot. So she is pivotal to how Kane ends up winning this fight.
And again, like you said, standing by your man, it's like the people that you want in your life that do stand up with you ideally are the ones that you are like your family, you are committed to. And even though if you found this family or community, you can see how quickly that could change based on the events of the world.
Right. And I think that the real-time element really has a deep impact here because right after Frank Miller is down in the sand, in the dirt, Kane and his wife embrace, and the town rushes over to see this defeat, to see that Kane has won, and all of a sudden the town is rejoicing and celebrating him and thankful to him, and he will have none of it. He's not having it. He throws that tin star in the dirt.
Yep.
And gets in the little horse and buggy wagon, and he's out.
Yeah.
He's done with this town. They were not there for him in this moment, and he won't be there for them anymore. But who is going to be with him? His wife and I guess these horses, and they just take on off. But I think that
and we finally hear a new part of the song.
Yes, we do. But
God.
But I think that feeling the effect of how quickly it goes from no, none of us will stand with you, no, you should just leave, you're the problem, to oh my God, Kane, you're our hero. Yeah. And then seeing him reject that, 2 minutes after he's taken out this town's biggest threat, very powerful. And again, not something that was seen in Westerns.
Right.
The hero does not abandon his town.
Yeah.
certainly doesn't abandon his tin star. that tin star in the dirt with Frank Miller's body.
Yeah, and with Eddington too, right there, the performative action, like performativeness of, in a sense, like these people being like, "Yay, we're saved," right? Like the idea that this community now can come together in the face of, yay, more energy and things for the town.
So, yeah, more opportunity, putting Eddington on the map. All of these things, and now this town presumably is going to have all this business from the north, and at the expense of everything that Kane has sacrificed, putting his and his wife's lives on the line. And I think the movie asks us to ask for what. Like all of this, and for what is questions that I think both movies ask.
Yeah, and in Kane's point, just to now run a store with his wife.
Good for him. I would love to just run a general store. Like, I know that I couldn't be like maybe exactly who I am in this time period, but I think I would have had a nice general store. I think I would have been like a nice little townswoman.
Yeah.
Maybe like the ex-lover in this movie. She's a businesswoman.
Yeah, she is a businesswoman. Yeah, she has a store. She actually has a store. That's right. She sells
who I would
it to
be
someone.
In this. Yeah, and I would be like scorning all of my ex-lovers' new wives in the process. Let's talk a little bit about what we almost paired Eddington with.
Heading into this movie, we really were hard on for No Country for Old Men.
We were, as you can see right here. We have our runner-up prominently displayed.
Yeah, this week's couch creature, but on the table, not on the couch.
Yes.
Is the No Country for Old Men Criterion case. Thank you, James, for sharing your copy with me. I did not watch it.
You didn't rewatch No Country?
No, I didn't.
That's okay. But No Country was on our list as a modern Western to pair this with.
I think initially, too, was thinking maybe there'd be more face-offs directly between Pedro and Joaquin Phoenix, like their characters pitted more directly at odds, and the movie obviously goes into many, many different places.
Oh, yeah. Well, a great segue. As we talked about, Eddington encompasses many, many genres, genre twists and turns. For our conspiracy thriller pick, Evan threw out Under the Silver Lake as a potential option. And I think I just texted back a swift, no, I hate that movie.
I also hate that movie. My friend recommended that movie. He said, I think this is a very Evan type of movie. And I watched it and I was a little offended, but I was...
Speaking of Andrew Garfield too. Oh
I know.
Gosh.
I guess I don't hate it. I just was like very like, I don't know if this is like a me movie.
I was underwhelmed by it.
But a movie it is similar to that I almost suggested we compare to that's not on our list was Under the Silver Lake feels very much like The Long Goodbye. Which I also thought that could have been an interesting pairing.
Great
not
LA
quite
movie.
As well. Yeah.
Great lone man movie. Maybe not. It's not really a Western, but it definitely takes that lone man trope very seriously. At the center with Elliot Gould. It's a good pick.
Oh, we also forgot to say that both Eddington and High Noon take place in New Mexico.
They do, which I didn't realize until
no other movies would have that link. That's for sure.
Very true.
Yeah.
I also thought of The Parallax View, which is a 70s political conspiracy thriller. I thought of... you thought of Do the Right Thing.
Yeah,
which I thought was a really interesting parallel.
We did mention how the movie incorporates the murder of George Floyd. We didn't spend too much time on some of the ways the movie continues to tackle that subject, but it does.
Yes.
It's an interesting structural link as well too, of just like this kind of powder keg in this very specific place. I mean, small part of Brooklyn. It is a small community. Literally a street corner,
right?
Yes,
of Brooklyn.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really interesting. We didn't get to talk too much about it, just one-on-one, but I did think that was a great shout.
Yeah.
The last one that I thought of that I was trying to think of before is JFK.
Oh, that's right.
I think that Eddington has a lot of Oliver Stone flourishes to it. But JFK, although it is my favorite conspiracy thriller, it is 3 hours long, and I was like, that's bad. I just producer brain. I was like, that's bad for prep time. Although I have fully seen JFK 6 times.
Oh, I have to watch it. I haven't seen that or Parallax View, so.
Which is why you didn't laugh at my joke earlier when I was saying back and to the left, back and to the left. Okay. The real heads will get that one.
Yeah.
But
well, it was before we started rolling.
It was, but the real heads will know.
I think I can hear the real heads laughing in the comments.
Oh my god. Oh, I'm so flattered. But yeah, JFK just a real crazy conspiracy bend that Eddington does not go that far into.
Yeah, and it happens so late in the movie specifically too. But
also has the political element and had topical element to it. But I think we made accidentally made a great pairing here, or you did, because you were not even didn't even know the backstory of the movie, correct? When you suggested it, or you had forgotten some of it?
I had forgotten. Yeah, I was just going off of, I Googled classic Westerns just to see. And then just to see if we could find like a new one to watch. And then when High Noon popped up, I was like, oh yeah, there is this interesting thing about the community letting him down. And like this man who was on a mission and who will go the full length to prove that he's on the right side of things, and how that plays out very differently in both cases.
Man of justice, men of law and order. They call Joe Cross that in one of the videos that gets. I think the video that Pedro Pascal's son takes, it's like law and order sheriff gets in like a violent attack. There's a lot of winks and nods in Eddington, and I saw them, Ari, and I will see them when I watch Eddington again. We hope that you will watch Eddington and High Noon as a double feature. If not, check out our Letterboxd for a list of our alternate pairings. Something that I'm starting up on our Letterboxd is a list of all the movies that we considered with each entry.
Oh, very fun. Yeah, I can't wait to throw some of mine on the previous entries as well.
Yeah, there we go. Keep it moving. we could have a whole film syllabus going on.
That's true. Wow. Incredible.
Maybe someday we too will teach film 1 at Emerson College.
I was going to say, skip film 1. Just go to the Letterboxd. Well, that is it for us today. If you're listening to us on audio, please leave a review or a comment. And don't forget to check out the video versions of these on YouTube. If you at Back to the Future Pod on YouTube, for every video, we have a couch creature. This week's creature is, again, the Criterion Case. Anton Chigurh, do you have any messages for us?
Hey, it's me, Anton Chigurh. I'm walking here.
I think that's Midnight Cowboy. Anton. You can follow the podcast on Letterboxd at Back to the Pod, and follow us on Instagram at Back to the Feature Pod. If you are dying to get in touch with us, you can send us an email at backtothefeaturepod@gmail.com.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Riley. Thank you, Austin, for the music. Gabby, what are we doing next time?
I'm so glad you asked, Evan. We will be covering The Fantastic Four, another Pedro Pascal vehicle that is coming out this summer, a reboot of a franchise that has been booted and rebooted again and again.
Yep.
And what will we be pairing this latest iteration of Fantastic Four with, Evan?
Well, the only way to do it is to go back to the past. We got to look at Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer.
A movie that I thought was good when I was 12. I'm putting it on record right now, but we're going to dive deep next week, and we hope that you will join us. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching.
Yeah.
See you next time.
See ya.